Flames scattered off the belly of the jet as the control tower screamed in Kat's headset, and every heartbeat felt like a countdown to impact. Katrina "Kat" Rivers had long ago mastered the art of becoming invisible. At Ridgecrest Advanced Response Academy, a sprawling private desert compound 30 miles outside Las Vegas, she was officially logged as a logistics specialist, one of the khaki-clad ghosts who cataloged equipment, checked expiry dates on trauma kits, and signed crates in and out of the modular hangars. Nobody questioned the quartermaster's clipboard. Nobody suspected what she really carried in muscle memory: 1,300 logged flight hours between classified bases, night vision goggles soaked by monsoon clouds, and call signs whispered by pilots who'd sworn to confidentiality. That suited her fine. The day had started like every other in this shimmering crucible of asphalt and ambition. A thin April haze blurred the horizon. Jets rotated overhead on practice sorties, their hot exhaust gusting grit across the apron. Kat moved between pallets, scanning QR codes and sliding her signature stylus across a touchscreen the size of a paperback. Heat shimmered around her steel toe boots. Sweat threaded down her neck, but she kept her hair pinned tight beneath the UV cap. She logged 19 crates of avionics, 2 pallets of hydraulic fluid, and 97 sterile suturing kits. Routine. At 0930 hours, a pair of F-16s knifed skyward, pulling vapor tails into cobalt. She pretended not to look up, though her pulse kicked at the sound. Pratt & Whitney Pidley 2000 series, not the standard GE 129 roar most here we're used to. She filed the detail in the back of her mind, the way others might note fashion or sports statistics. For Kat, engine whine carried the intimacy of fingerprints. She turned her attention to a ground crewman struggling with a jammed tow bar. Easy. She coached quietly, sliding a grease, slick wrench from her belt, guiding his hands with a gentleness that surprised him. He grinned. She flashed a brief, tight smile, then disappeared into her checklists again. No one saw the flicker of fond memory behind her eyes. Her father, Master Gunnery Sergeant Logan Rivers, adjusting her hands on a Remington rifle at 11, whispering the geometry of breath and trigger squeeze. Her mother, Dr. Eileen Torres, teaching her the delicate rhythm of stitching flesh during medevac drills. Competence for Kat wasn't a performance. It was oxygen. Droppa, if you've ever been underestimated. Just before noon, the bass loudspeakers crackled. A calm male voice announced, "Blackjack flight, return to pattern. Report gear status immediately." Nothing unusual, but Kat heard the clipped edge under the comm, a vibrato of suppressed alarm. A glance toward the flight line showed the small cluster of instructors outside ops, binoculars frozen midway. She quickened her steps toward Hangar B, ostensibly to sign out a diagnostic laptop. Inside, cavernous shadows draped rows of airframes, C-30s, Black Hawk helicopters, and, gleaming under sodium lamps, a lone F-16B twin-seat trainer nicknamed Ghost 62. Kat was halfway to the supply cage when her badge chirped. An encrypted push alert flashed on the small personal display most staff never noticed. *Unscheduled emergency. Aircraft tail 87034. Gear failsafe not extended. Pilot incapacitated. Cat's blood refrigerated. Tail 8734. The spare bird assigned to visiting dignitaries' orientation flights. That meant a civilian, or at least a government VIP in the rear cockpit. The instructor-rated pilot in the front. If he was incapacitated, the backseater almost certainly held command under loose guidance. Without gear, they'd have to belly in. She considered sprinting to ops, but ops housed layers of hierarchy. She had neither patch nor authority on paper. Every minute would translate into another pass over the field, another 100 pounds of fuel burned. Another degree of caution melting into panic. Instead she turned toward Ghost 62. Asterisk asterisk 1232 hours. Ridgecrest runway 13R asterisk asterisk turboshaft. Whine thundered across the ramp as Kat climbed the maintenance ladder, climbed past the no-step stencil, and popped open Ghost 62's forward avionics bay. She moved with deceptive calm, pulling safety pins, verifying pressure seals, glancing every few seconds at the skyline where the stricken jet traced a wide orbit. "Hey, Quartermaster." Someone called from the hangar door. Tomas Brick Varela, flight operations tech. "What the hell are you doing?" "Prepping for a tow," she replied without looking. Her voice carried enough conviction to stall further questions. Brick jogged off, radio pressed to his ear. Inside the cockpit, she slid onto the ejection seat. Fingers danced across familiar arrays. IFF switches, backup AD, throttle friction. Muscle memory hummed alive like long dormant wiring. Asterisk Ridgecrest Tower. Blackjack 1, the advised front seater is blacked out. Rear seat negative on gear, 3 green. Asterisk. The transmission cut through her headset speakers. Someone piped the frequency to public address without meaning to. The rear seat voice quavered, thick with tight breathing. A younger Kat might have hesitated, terrified of exposure. The woman who sat in Ghost 62 now simply accepted inevitability. She keyed the maintenance interphone to Flightline Dispatch. "This is Hangar B lead. Ghost 62 is hot and will taxi in 60 seconds for emergency intercept. Clear taxiway Bravo." A beat of silence. "Then Hangar B, say again?" She didn't. Instead, she closed the canopy and brought the battery online with a punch of the master toggle. Displays flickered in amber and teal. Hydraulic pressure climbed. Lights mirrored across her retinas like a coated sky. The right engine coughed. Spooled, caught. Kat taxied fast, nosewheel chattering over expansion seams. 2 ground crew members waved their wands in frantic X-shaped stop. "Stop," she steamed. Past them, saluted with quick aileron rolls, and entered the parallel taxiway. The tower frequency sparked with query and curses. She unplugged. She had all she needed. Wind 180 at 9 knots. Altimeter setting. Runway length. Type if you've daydreamed about breaking the sound barrier. Ghost 62, you are not. Cleared for takeoff. The tower supervisor's voice cracked like an overstressed cable. Kat lined up anyway. The other jet tail 87-034 banked onto base leg. Smoke trailing from its fuselage, main gear doors still sealed. Distance, 4 miles. She advanced throttle to military power, left hand steady, right hand easing stick neutral. The jet lunged. At 140 knots she rotated, wheels left asphalt. Struts compressed and folded. She climbed at 12 degrees, hugging the departure corridor to avoid wake turbulence from the crippled bird overhead. Altitude 500 feet. Flaps up. Her goal wasn't heroics, it was choreography. She needed to align off tail 87-034's starboard side, assess damage visually, and talk the rear seater a shaken Major Caldwell, according to tower logs through an alternative checklist. Maybe the damper sleeve sheared. Maybe nitrogen blowdown failed. Either way, there was a chance they could release at least one main strut. Asterisk side by side once she reconfigures. Kat thought. Asterisk convince him I'm the safety chase. Then asterisk her. Breath hitched. The instructor, Captain Jake Harmon, was motionless in the front seat, helmet slack. She'd met him twice at coffee. Charming grin carved into cocksure, talk about supersonic yaw. Tail 87-034 began its next turn. Kat punched burners, ghost blue pillars erupting behind her, and arced up and over into trail position. Outside, desert mesas looked like models under the high noon glare. Asterisk 1240 hours, 5,000 feet, AGL, asterisk, Blackjack 1. Ghost 62 on your right. I'm your chase visual check underway. She keyed open the guard frequency before Caldwell could protest. Chase? We didn't get a chase. Then a gulp. Thank God. Do you see gear? His voice cracked. Cat angled close enough that vortex ripples rattled her wings. The main doors were closed, but undercarriage struts looked intact. She clicked her mic. Looks like actuators didn't cycle. Stand by. She double-tapped the canopy's frame code taught at a clandestine aggressor. Squadron, follow my lead. She needed Caldwell to manually recycle the gear while she matched speed. The aerodynamic load in a shallow dive might jar mechanisms free. But before she could instruct, Harmon's limp head snapped upright, convulsive, uncontrolled. Blood splattered inside his visor. Cott's stomach plunged. Caldwell screamed. The F-16 yawed violently. Press if your pulse just spiked. Jet fuel-rich wind hammered Cat's canopy. She forced calm. Blackjack 1, stabilize, I'm with you. Snap roll left 3 degrees, trust me. Her voice burrowed into Caldwell's spiral of panic. Firm and unyielding. He obeyed. In those microseconds, Cat grappled with triage. Harmon's arterial spray meant partial carotid or jugular laceration, maybe shrapnel from a shattered canopy handle. He wouldn't last 15 minutes without aid. Must land now. Gear stuck or not, the only way was to put metal on runway. Belly landings on an F-16 were survivable with precise angle and throttle discipline, but Caldwell had never practiced one. Few had. Cat toggled mode select on her DED data entry display, feeding her jet's ENs into Caldwell's to link. Flight paths, a trick dating back to her days in experimental test flights. Symbols aligned. Blackjack 1, copy my parameters. We're going straight in. Use my sightline like rails. Don't fight it. When I say flare, cut. Who are you? He panted. Your best shot, she answered. She eased power, descending toward 2,000 feet. Ridgecrest Tower barked conflicting instructions. Emergency vehicles scrambled. Sirens bloomed. The runway shimmered like a silver blade. Cat set Ghost 62 ahead, 30 yards to Caldwell's right. Her voice became metronomic. Speed breakout 3%. Throttle hold good. Drop flares, negative disregard. She guided him through each notch. Ground rushed up. Harmon's jet skated forward, nose up but mains still retracted. Too steep. Ease it, ease throttle idle now. Flare 2 degrees hold. She throttled to idle herself, feeling Ghost 62 settle. At 80 feet. Caldwell's jet bounced in restless ground effect. The altimeter screamed numbers. Cott whispered, believe. Both jets kissed tarmac in a shower of sparks. Ghost 62's gear bit asphalt. Cat braced as tires shrieked. Caldwell's bird scraped on its ventral fins, molten orange sliding off like pyrography. The roar drowned everything. Heat flashed through CANOPI. Isa. Cott reverse, chuted, dragging silk into the airstream. Caldwell's jet slewed right, but not over. Emergency rigs chased it, foam cannons primed. They decelerated in ragged tandem, smoke curtains tumbling behind. When they stopped, Cat sat rigid, heartbeat a kick drum. She saw crewmen swarm Caldwell's cockpit, hauling Harmon from the seat. Pressing bandages to his throat, sirens throbbed. Radios crackled. Somewhere a supervisor demanded the rogue Ghost 62 pilot's identity. Cat lifted her canopy. Hot wind slapped sweat off her lips. Someone would notice soon. Her badge, her bogus. Assignment all lies unraveling in open daylight. She scanned the frantic scene. No one looked her way yet. She could slide down the ladder, vanish among medics, resume invisibility, but that would leave Caldwell to account for a phantom savior, and Harmon's life might depend on witness statements. Flight data, the precious seconds she could shave. From confusion, decision flickered like a coin. Run or reveal. She keyed her mic. Voice steady on the emergency net. Tower, this is Katrina Rivers, civilian contractor. Reporting safe landing. Medical escort requested for Captain Harmon. I'm disarming ejection pins and will stand by for debrief. Airwaves froze. Then. Say again, Katrina, contractor. How did you? The controller's sentence dissolved into static. Cat. Unclipped harness moved to step out. A male voice boomed across the runway. PA. Security teams. Detain pilot of Ghost 62 immediately. Boots thundered. Cat swung a leg over the cockpit. Sill. Her phone buzzed. Unknown encrypted number. Trust me. Run. She looked toward the ambulance where Harmon's bloodied helmet disappeared inside. Caldwell, helmet off, was pointing at her, mouth moving in frantic disbelief. She hesitated. Behind her, rifles clacked rounds into chambers. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're from. If this story moves you, please subscribe. Tomorrow, I have a special story for you. Cot didn't move. She could feel the weight of every rifle trained on her spine. The unblinking red dots of laser sights wandering across the matte gray of Ghost 62's fuselage like impatient fireflies. Wind gusts ripped at her flight suit, carrying the acrid stink of scorched composite panels from the runway behind her, evidence of the miracle and the crime she'd just committed. Somewhere to her left, a medic shouted vitals over the sirens. Somewhere to her right, Caldwell's voice cracked under the strain of interrogation. No hiding now. Cat raised both hands, slow and deliberate, knowing the motion would tilt the arresting. Harness still clipped to her vest. I'm coming down, she yelled. Her voice echoed against the hangars and came back thin, almost fragile. With one determined breath, she swung her other leg over the cockpit sill, gripped the boarding ladder, and began her descent. Metal rungs clanged under her boots. Below, a circle of security personnel widened to accommodate her landing. Olive drab uniforms, black helmets, reflective visors. She could see only her own distorted face in their shields, hair escaping the sweat-soaked cap, dark eyes narrowed by adrenaline. The desert sun painted harsh shadows across them all. As her feet hit tarmac, a lieutenant with a megaphone stepped forward. On your knees, hands behind your head. She obeyed, swallowing sand-dry air. A knee pressed between her shoulder. Blades, cable zip cuffs cinched her wrists. The lieutenant leaned close enough that she could count the stubble grains on his chin. You've got 30 seconds to explain who authorized that stunt. Count steadied her breathing, mind vaulting through obligations. Protect the injured pilot's timeline. Protect classified flight test tricks she'd used. Protect herself, though that had never been priority one. Her lips parted, but a gray SUV screeched to a halt just outside the security perimeter. The driver's door flew open, and a woman in a crimson blazer stepped out, flashing a badge so news to Cat it might as well have been printed that morning. Special Agent Rowan, Defense Oversight Office. That pilot is my witness. Transfer custody, now. The lieutenant bristled. Ma'am, this is an internal breach, which falls under oversight when it involves unauthorized flight of government property, Rowan snapped. Chain of command, Lieutenant. Stand down. Her voice sliced with courtroom precision. The standoff lasted 4 pounding heartbeats before the lieutenant signaled his men to lower weapons. Cot felt plastic cuffs severed by a swift blade. Metal. Taste flooded her mouth, relief tinged with wariness. Asterisk, asterisk, tap if you've ever been yanked out of disaster only to land in deeper intrigue. Asterisk, asterisk. Rowan steered Cat toward the waiting SUV. Inside, cooled air smelled of vinyl and impatience. The agent's driver, a lanky man whose Namatag read March, merged into a lane carved by emergency vehicles exiting the field. No one pursued. What's your clearance, Ms. Rivers? Rowan asked, pulling a tablet from the seat pocket. Technically? Cot flexed sore wrists. Nothing higher than contractor baseline. Rowan's brow arched. And yet you executed a flawless chase assist and tandem belly landing. Those weren't textbook moves. They were black program signatures. Kat met her gaze. You're implying I broke laws. I saved 2 pilots. I'm stating facts. Rowan swiped through reports. Caldwell claims an anonymous voice. Walked him through procedures. Harmon, if he survives surgery, will confirm you circumvented Tower authority. Kat's pulse hammered, but her tone stayed flat. Then charge me. Otherwise, tell me why I'm in this car instead of base brig. Rowan shifted, tablet lowering. Because someone with real leverage ordered me to find you before the old guard buried this. My orders came 3 minutes after you touched down. Whose leverage? Instead of answering, Rowan tapped March's shoulder. Show her. March flicked a switch. The SUV's infotainment screen lit with a secure video call. The image resolved into an elderly man wearing aviator-thin glasses and a weathered, leather flight jacket. General Trevor Ainsley, RET, former commander of the Air Force's most clandestine test wing. Kat's breath caught. She had met the legend only once during a thunderstorm on the edge of Area 8, when she was still logging under a dead-end call sign. Ainsley spoke with slow, gravel-rich cadence. Kid, you sure know how to blow a cover. You all right? 100 questions burned, but she answered the one he'd asked. Yes, sir. Good. Rowan will debrief you en route. Time's short. He leaned closer to the camera. What happened today wasn't an accident. Captain Harmon was targeted. The F-16's gear hydraulics were sabotaged mid-flight by a worm in the flight control firmware. Kat blinked. A worm that activates after takeoff? Exactly. Someone's beta testing a kill switch that grounds our birds without missiles. We need a countermeasure before they upscale. And we need the pilot who can fly crippled metal like it's a paper glider. His eyes sharpened. That's you. Her jaw tensed. Sir, with respect, I'm one step from being court-martialed. You're a contractor. They can't court-martial you. They can bury you in indictments, yes, he exhaled. But if you help me, they won't. Kat stared at the road ahead, desert scrub wheeling past in sun-bleached blur. The horizon shimmered like a wavering promise. Drop up if you faced a deal with the devil or the hero when neither option felt safe. Asterisk, asterisk. 1500 hours. Safe House Alpha. Outskirts of Boulder City, asterisk, asterisk. The safe house looked like an abandoned veterinary clinic peeling turquoise paint. Dusted windows, a faded sign that once read Caretales. Inside, the exam rooms had been gutted and replaced with server racks and folding field desks. Kat's boots squeaked on linoleum still imprinted with paw decals. Rowan guided her toward a briefing cluster where Ainsley waited in person now, leaning on a cane that seemed more accessory than necessity. Caldwell sat nearby, arm bandaged, eyes swollen from adrenaline fatigue. Harmon's status flashed on a monitor, critical but stable. Ainsley wasted no time. Caldwell's HUD captured telemetry of the worm's signature. It isn't ours. We traced its handshake packets to an offshore address leased by Orion Sentries, a private security firm gone rogue. Their next test is tonight, an unmanned drone swarm hijacking at Coyote Peak Test Range. He tapped the map. If those drones crash out of sky under false safety failures, Congress pulls funding for the entire response program. Nations. Strategically blind. We can't let that pay-for-play sabotage succeed. Kat folded arms. You need me because I can fly a cripple override? We need you because our only intercept platform left on site is a prototype F-16 Zulu. Variant. Experimental flight by light controls. Minimal hardware redundancies. The worm should cripple her, too, unless someone manually reconfigures airflow trims on the fly. Our software geeks can't keep up. We need a pilot who can feel lift vectors. You. Caldwell spoke, voice raw. She saved my life. She saved the project. His vote of confidence felt like a weight placed in Kat's palms. Rowan laid out a tan folder. Mission file. Wheels up 1900 hours. Call sign Rampart. You'll fly with a shadow drone that mimics your inputs if the worm locks you out. Your ghost signal keeps the UAV formation stable for 30 seconds, enough to fry the worm via EP pulse. After that, bring everyone home. Kat flipped the folder shut. Who else is on the crew? Just you, Rowan said. You're remote flying the drone squad from the Zulu cockpit, solo seat. Kat swallowed, the memory of Harmon's blood still vivid. What's the downside? Ainsley's gaze was grave. If Orion Sentries has field actors, they might try a direct kill. They failed to silence Harmon. They won't be gentle this round. Silence gathered under fluorescent hum. Kat tested her pulse steady, if a little fast. She pictured her mother's hands guiding stitches. Asterisk, find the rhythm. Flesh, thread, tie. Breathe. Asterisk, she pictured her father at the range. The target's already hit, you're just lining up proof. She nodded once. I'm in, Rowan exhaled. Like she'd been holding her breath for hours. Caldwell managed a crooked salute. Asterisk, asterisk, 1730 hours. Ridgecrest O hangar. Zulu Bay asterisk, asterisk. The Zulu variant sat under floodlights. Paint so new it gleamed like wet ink. Flight by light meant fiber optic signal lines instead of hydraulic rods lighter. Faster, but vulnerable to data corruption. Kat walked its length, fingertips grazing the leading edge slats, feeling the electric hush of potential. Ground tech approached with a patch, navy background. Silver silhouette of a castle wall, rampart. Crew Chief Martinez, he said, voice reverent. Heard what you pulled. This bird's your shield tonight. Kat accepted the patch and tucked it into her sleeve pocket. Let's do her pre-flight. They worked systematically. Primary control check, engine inlet borescope, coolant loop. Pressure, seat sequencer test. Kat calibrated inertial nav values manually, older method, but less prone to spoofing. Martinez watched, impressed by her fluency. At one point, she knelt to trace a hairline scratch on the starboard stabilator. Did Kia log this? Negative, Martinez replied, puzzled. Kat's stomach tightened. That scratch was too clean. Too deliberate, an inconspicuous marker for maintenance tampering. She borrowed a borescope, snaked it inside. There, near the actuator servo, a microtransponder no larger than a green bean. It's a beacon, she muttered. Field actor wants to track or trigger. Martinez's face blanched. He radioed Rowan. Within minutes, technicians in anti-static suits excised the device. Rowan's voice crackled over Kat's headset. Foiled one attempt. Stay sharp. Hit, if you'd keep going despite sabotage swirling around you. 1903 hours. Taxi ramp dusk blood purple across the desert. Runway lights blinking alive like a constellation fallen to earth. Kat's canopy sealed. The cockpit glowed with teal soft panels. Call sign Rampart flashed on her HUD. Zulu. 1. Ridgecrest Tower. Cleared runway 13 right. Departure bridge Echo. The controller said, tone respectful now. Godspeed. Kat advanced throttle. The prototype surged, weightless envy of gravity. At 190 knots she rotated, gears folding like retracting talons. The sky swallowed her. Climb out was smooth until 10,000 feet. When a system advisory chimed, data bus integrity, degraded. The worm was testing the waters. She muttered into her mask. Not tonight. Ainsley's voice came from the encrypted channel. Confirm shadow drone link. Kat toggled the quantum secure handshake. On her right MFD, 6 drone icons illuminated. In echelon, link green, proceed to Coyote Peak. She throttled forward. Afterburner rings flickering against the deepening sky. Asterisk, asterisk, 1957 hours. Coyote Peak test range. 23,000 feet, asterisk, asterisk, below. Rugged mesas cast sawtooth shadows. Kat eased the Zulu into a wide orbit. Drones mimicked her path in a loose halo. Suddenly her HUD flickered, a digital stutter followed by a cascade of red. Flight control freeze. The stick turned lifeless. Worm, engage, she hissed. She fought the reflex to yank. Instead, she tapped the parallel bus toggle silent handshake to the drones. The UAV formation tightened instantly, each unit feeding back its own inertial data to her crippled jet, overlaying synthetic control echoes. For 30 seconds, Cat flew by reflection, guiding the drones which guided her primary surfaces via remote echo. It felt like steering a car by watching its shadow under streetlights. She pulled into a high G bank, aiming the formation toward the EMP altitude threshold. Time bled. EMP ready. Rowan called from mission control van, voice taut. Cat aligned. Crosshairs on the range's western ridge. Pulsin 3, 2. Mark! A stun-bright flash burst from the lead drone, a ripple of invisible force. On her MFD, icons for enemy worm nodes winked out like extinguished candles. Control rods hummed back to life. Her stick fought free. HUD returned to crisp cyan, but victory was premature. Eyes on SAM launch. Ainsley warned as radar spikes erupted on her RWR scope surface to air missiles. 2, maybe 3, burning upward from the valley floor. Orion. Sentries had ground shooters after all. Cat rolled inverted, dumped chaff and flares, arced into a gut-wrenching dive. G-forces plastered her spine. The Zulu shrieked protest through airframe vibrations. Missiles chased like rabid dogs. Rampart, you need to notch south. Martinez's voice shouted over the net. Terrain mask. Cock leveled at 300 feet at GL, weaving between plateaus. Night. Swallow detail. Only the occasional strobing beacon on drone tails showed her path. The first SAM self-detonated in the canyon wall behind. The shockwave buffeted her jet. The second still tracked. She had seconds. A plan sparked. Feed her flight path to the drones. Have one dive at full throttle directly into the SAM seeker, blinding it with radio energy and physical debris. She typed commands faster than thought, prepping the sacrificial drone. Zulu Shadow 4, break and intercept. The UAV peeled, engines screaming in the thin air. Cot watched its blip make the missiles. A silent flash, then nothing. The missile's trace vanished, but the explosion tore turbulence across her flight path. Zulu bucked, alarms howling. A systems fault lit. Hydraulic reservoir B pressure low. Not again. She throttled back, nose steady. Reservoir B fed her left roll spoilers. Loss could send her into uncontrolled right bank if she didn't balance manually. Rowan, lost hydro. B, I can fly, but landing will be one shot. Copy, Rowan said. Divert to Groom Lake. Longest runway, emergency nets ready. Groom Lake, Area 51, out of public eye. Fitting arena. Cat nested the thought and turned north. The desert's darkness felt boundless, but she could almost sense the dry lake bed ahead, a pale strip under moonlight. Asterisk. 22:05 hours. Approaching Groom Lake. Asterisk. Lights lined the secret runway like subdued applause. Cat set flaps manually, offsetting hydro imbalance with cautious trim tweaks. Gear extension triggered a shutter but locked. Good sign. At 2 miles final, another alarm sparked. Gear door micro switch fault. She frowned. Doors reported open, meaning drag increase, potential gear instability. She couldn't risk retract extend cycles. Final anyway, she murmured. Commit. The Zulu floated, weight reluctant to embrace Earth. She considered a shallow tail lower attitude to protect the nose gear. At 20 feet, she flared, cut throttle. Touchdown. Tires screeched but held. Drag chute deployed. The aircraft decelerated in smoky grace. Cheers erupted on the radio mission control. Rowan Martinez. Even Caldwell patched in with a strained, "You did it." Cat taxied clear, engines winding down. Blood thumped in her ears, but as she opened the canopy, A lone figure stepped from the shadows by the hangar doorball, broad-shouldered, wearing a black Orion Sentry's windbreaker. He raised a silenced pistol toward her head. Kat froze, still harnessed in the cockpit, no weapon within reach. The man smiled, thumb brushing the trigger. A deafening crack split the night, and he crumpled before he could fire. Behind him stood Agent Rowan, service revolver smoking. Rowan shouted, "More incoming!" Shadows converged too, 3 silhouettes sprinting from vehicles. Muzzle flashes blooming. Cat slammed canopy back down. Chaos erupting outside. Smash if you're gripping your seat right now. Inside the bulletproof glass, she watched Rowan roll behind concrete barriers, returning fire with cold precision. Security alarms blared. Floodlights snapped on, catching dust swirls on the ragged edges of gunfire. Cat's options raced. Remain locked in cockpit safe but useless, or exit through the boarding ladder's blind side and flank the intruders. Using the parked drones as cover. What would Dad do? Engage decisively. What would Mom admonish? Stop bleeding at the source. Cat unlatched harness, adrenaline flaring hotter than fear. She popped the side eject panel, grabbed the emergency crash axe stowed behind the seat, hardly ideal against firearms. But steel and desperation weighed the same in crisis. She dropped to the tarmac, crouching behind the main gear strut. Bullets pinned against landing lights. One assailant advanced left, firing suppressive bursts. Cat waited until his magazine click echoed, then sprinted low toward a maintenance cart, hurdling cables. Sweat stung her lashes. Rows of drones cast jagged shadows. She ducked behind an engine cowling, breath ragged. Agent Rowan had found cover near a generator, but was pinned. Cat scanned for advantage. A fire suppression tank sat 10 yards away. Bright red, flammable foam under pressure. If she could rupture the valve facing the attackers, a sudden blast could blind them. Tip momentum. She hefted the axe, judged angle, dashed. Gunfire peppered concrete around her heels. She skidded, swung steel bit metal valve. A geyser of white vapor roared outward, engulfing the gunman in choking fog. Rowan yelled, "Move!" and rolled a new cover, firing twin shots. One silhouette. Drop. Cat seized the moment, tackled another assailant whose rifle swung wide. They tumbled. Her elbow rammed his throat. His weapon clattered away. She pinioned his arm, twist heard crunch, but pain lanced her thigh. A stray round grazed. Shredding fabric, hot iron kiss on skin. She bit back a cry, pivoted the injured man's body as shield advanced. The final gunman fled for a jeep. Rowan sprinted to intercept but stumbled on spent casings. Cot limped forward, pulse roaring. She hurled the axe in awkward spin in desert. Ere the blade lodged in the jeep's rear tire. Rubber exploded, vehicle fishtailed, driver slammed brakes, thrown off balance. Rowan closed the distance, disarmed and cuffed him. Sirens from base security wailed closer. Cat leaned against a drone cradle, blood dripping down calf into boot, breath fogging night. Rowan jogged over, expression a collision of relief and fury. "You okay?" "Flesh wound," Cat rasped. Rowan pocketed cuffs, sweeping the foggy field. "We need to evac, your priority target." Cot shook her head. The prototype log's worm data must be secured. Without them, the sabotage case dies, Rowan exhaled. Then we do both. But we have to move before Orion reinforcements arrive. Cot pushed upright, legs screaming. Footsteps of approaching security echoed in the glare of spotlights. Cat saw the crumpled body of her would-be assassin. Rowan's shell casings glittering like lost stars. Rowan tucked her gun, eyes steady on Cat. "There's a medevac chopper." "Prepping. Can you walk?" Cat tested weight on her injured leg. "I can fly." They shared a grim smile, but just as they turned toward the hangar's rear exit, Cat's phone vibrated again from the unknown encrypted number. She risked a glance. Asterisk message. They're inside the tower. Plotting a hard disconnect in 6 minutes. Asterisk her stomach dropped. If tower arrays shut down, the worm's source code streaming to secure vault servers would cut off evidence lost. And Harmon's remote life support telemetry ran through the same trunk line. Kat looked to Rowan. There. Not done. Rowan read the message over her shoulder. We split. No, Kat said, voice sharper than she intended. We go together. You cover me. I pull the tower's manual bypass. Rowan hesitated, weighing risks like heavy coins. Finally she nodded. Then let's finish this. Together they limped into the night, sirens blearing, rotors spooling. Somewhere beyond the hangars, desert wind carrying the scent of gunpowder and jet fuel. Asterisk. Asterisk. If you're ready for the next descent into chaos. Asterisk asterisk. Rowan's combat boots hammered concrete in sync with Kat's uneven stride. The two women cutting between silent hangars where floodlights painted everything in stark chiaroscuro. Kat's thigh pulsed hot around the bullet graze, each step reminding her she was slower than the clock that ticked toward the tower's shutdown. Ahead, the base control tower speared the sky 8 stories of glass and steel, windows glinting under sodium arcs. Normally a nerve center lit like a Christmas tree. Tonight the upper floors were dark except a rhythmic strobe of red. The automated distress pattern that meant manual override had been triggered. Somewhere inside, Orion Sentry's infiltrators were minutes from severing Ridgecrest's fiber trunk, burying evidence and silencing the telemetry sustaining Captain Harmon's remote care. Kat flashed a hand signal. Rowan nodded, shouldering her sidearm. They ducked behind a fuel truck, hearts sinking with the hum of its idle generator. Elevator? Rowan whispered. Too obvious. Kat replied, breath fogging. Stairwell north face has a maintenance. Hatch 2 floors up. Less likely to be guarded. Rowan glanced at Kat's leg. You sure you can climb? Kat flexed the wounded thigh. Pain answered, but so did resolve. I'll manage. Asterisk asterisk tap if you've ever pushed past pain for the greater mission. Asterisk asterisk. They broke cover, sprinting low. Spotlights overhead twitched but didn't lock on. Maybe security nets still recognized their heat signatures as friendly temporary luck dot at the tower's base. Rowan groped for the maintenance keypad. Kat shoved a multi-tool into the seam and popped the faceplate, bridging circuits with a flathead. The maglock hissed open. They slipped into a narrow stairwell that smelled of dust and coil grease. Emergency strips cast dim amber. Kat waved Rowan ahead, then relatched the hatch. The climb was a symphony of muffled footfalls and ragged breathing. Kat counted risers. 28 per flight, 6 landings to floor 7. By the second landing her quad burned. She kept her mind on math, another gift from her mother's trauma ward mantras. Asterisk, count the sutures, not the blood. Asterisk at landing 4. Rowan froze, ears pricked. Voices drifted from above mail, tense, no nonsense. 5 minutes, pull the blade. Command wants clean shutoff, no traces. Rowan mouthed 2 hostiles. Kat pointed to her own eyes, signaled flanking move. She unclipped the crash axe. From her belt still sticky with fire foam residue, and not a dot they advanced. Rowan first with pistol, Kat limping but determined. Halfway up the next flight, the men's silhouettes edged into view. One crouched at a rack mount, typing commands. The other stood guard, rifle slung. The hallway lights were off, security shutters half lowered. Kat inhaled, centered gravity over her good leg. Rowan whispered, on 3. She never finished the count. Kat hurled the axe, spinning end over end. Metal connected with the guard's shoulder. He swore, weapon clattering. Rowan surged forward, double tapping the air with silenced rounds. Both found center mass of the crouched hacker. He collapsed against the rack with an ugly grunt. The guard yanked a sidearm. But Cat was on him, knee to his chest, forearm crushing windpipe. He thrashed until his eyes rolled. She cuffed him to the stair rail. Rowan searched the hacker's pockets, producing a flash drive labeled Cutworm. "Primary kill code," she murmured. On the rack's small monitor, a progress bar read 87%. Toward total communications blackout, Cat shoved the limp body aside and slid into the chair. Fingers danced. She halted the sequence, then inverted it. Orders now read: archive all logs to remote vault, priority immediate. Data started cloning across fiber. She isolated Harmon's telemed link, rerouting it through redundant satellite uplink. The cum stack whined, fans hot. She felt time condensed seconds ached like stitches. A progress ding sounded. Transfer complete. Cat exhaled. Logs secured. Rowan ejected the flash drive, smashed it under her boot. That stops the kill trigger. Alarms still blared outside, but the tower's internal klaxon ceased. System stabilized. Cat allowed herself a heartbeat of victory. Asterisk asterisk drop. If you've ever fought code with courage. Asterisk asterisk. Her relief ended when a new alert popped. Incoming priority call. General Ainsley. She accepted. Ainsley's gravel voice filled the headset. Good work, but you're not done. Drone debris from Shadow 4 pierced a munitions bunker west quadrant. Fires uncontrolled, heading for ordnance stockpile. We lose that, half the range vaporizes. Helitac crew en route, but needs aerial coordination. Cat pinched the bridge of her nose. Ungrounded, sir. Leg shot. You can still command from jump seat. Take Air Cavalry Rescue 27. Your eyes, their rotor. Move. Rowan's gaze asked the question silently. Cat answered by standing grimacing, but upright. Let's go. 2120 hours. Ridgecrest helipad ALP-8. A-47 Chinook beat air into a staccato thunder. Twin rotors sending dust devils across the tarmac. Cat and Rowan jogged beneath, ducking blades. Crew Chief Alvarez hauled them up the aft ramp. Inside, tan benches rattled beneath field medkits and coil hoses. Pilot Captain Moira Graves turned in her seat, visor up. You the miracle worker? She shouted over engine roar. Cat shook Graves' gloved hand. Just trying to keep the planet intact. Graves grinned. Strap in. They lifted into the night. Cat secured a head-mounted display streaming FLIR imagery from the cabin belly cam. Below, the west bunker fire showed as a violent white. Bloom against black desert. Flames licked ammo pallets. Secondary pops detonated every few seconds. A string of Apache gunships circled, ready to suppress spot fires with unguided rockets. The Chinook carried 2,000 gallons of fire foam concentrate. Cat keyed the tack net. Graves, vector to 45 degrees port. Hold 800 AGL. Will deploy foam in 2 passes, south to north, then east to west. Graves complied, voice steady, on profile. Rowan watched, eyes reflecting ghost green HUD. She murmured, Never thought piloting a helicopter would be part of your day. Cat half smiled. Tuesday's just getting creative. As they banked, the Chinook's cabin door gunner laid suppressive fire at small arms tracers from ground Orion saboteurs, trying to worsen the blaze. Shell casings chattered down. The ramp. Cat toggled release valves. Drop one now. Foam sluiced, quenching orange tongues. Steam burst skyward. Drop 2 mark. Another layer smothered munitions crates. The inferno shrank. Glowing embers under white snow. Asterisk asterisk press. If you've ever steered chaos into order. Asterisk asterisk. Sudden beeps flared on the threat receiver. Graves cursed. Stinger lock, 6 o'clock low. An infrared missile streaked from sagebrush 5 miles out. The Chinook clawed for altitude. Flares ejected, blooming like molten petals. The missile chased heat, veering starboard. An Apache pivoted, shredded it with cannon fire, but not before the shockwave slapped the Chinook's tail rotor. The bird yawed violently, Cat's harness. Dug into shoulders, she gripped tie-down rings. Damage? Graves fought controls. Tail servo amber, but stable. We stay too long next stinger hits. Cat scanned the bunker fire mostly out, foam mounds hissing. Mission done. RTB. As they turned east, Rowan pointed. Silhouettes racing away in two jeeps, headlights off. Orion's ground team. Cat's jaw clenched. They'll reload and try again. Graves radioed base security with coordinates. Let the intercept drones hunt. 2,200 hours. Ridgecrest Field Med Bay. Cat sat on a gurney. Med tech stapling her thigh wound. Rows of cots held smoke inhalation victims and gunshot scrapes. Harmon lay in a curtained alcove, surgical team working inside a sterile bubble. His vitals looked stronger. Caldwell hobbled over, four-pole dragging. He squeezed my hand, Cat. He's gonna make it. Cat exhaled, tension draining. Good. Rowan arrived, fresh intel tablet in hand. Ainsley wants you in ops. Debrief at 2,230. Cat raised an eyebrow at her leg. Rowan tapped the stretcher wheel. I'll push. 2230 hours. Ridgecrest Ops briefing, a cavernous room rife with monitors scrolling code. Satellite feeds, casualty reports. General Ainsley and a cluster of advisors hunched over a hollow map. Dots marked Orion Sentry's known front companies worldwide. Ainsley looked up. Take a seat, if you can. Cot slid into a chair, Rowan beside her. Worm neutralized in. Prototype firmware, Ainsley began. But Orion's deep pockets mean they'll pivot. Next target, tomorrow morning's demonstration flight for Senate. Defense Committee at White Sands. Senator Luan and Subcommittee Chair Ames will be on board a twin-seat trainer. Orion can't resist a catastrophic headline. An advisor tapped. The map. We decoded chatter referencing a failsafe birdcage, likely an exploit that locks flight controls mid-demo, forcing crash. Cot frowned. Birdcage. Older F-16 analog systems can be overridden by digital command if maintenance port remains active post-preflight. Hard to pull off unless someone has physical access to avionics bay. Rowan leaned in. We just arrested an Orion mole on maintenance shift roster at White Sands, but two are unaccounted. They could rig the trainer overnight. Ainsley rapped his cane. So we stage a double cross. Publicly, Cat is still contractor under suspicion, can't be near demo. Privately, she ride back seat as safety observer with Senate liaison. Codes, Orion triggers the birdcage, she cuts it offline, lands safe, exposes sabotage to senators in real time. Silence thickened. Cot's pulse thrummed. That means I let them gain partial control. Gamble I can break it. Calculated. Risk, Ainsley said. She looked to Rowan, reading mirrored concern. You trust my reflexes? Rowan's reply came soft but firm. With my life, Cat nodded. Then let's brief the finer points. Hit, if you've ever accepted a plan hinged on milliseconds. Asterisk asterisk 005 hours, transfer flight. To White Sands asterisk asterisk, a sleek Gulfstream G550 climbed through cloudless night. Cabin windows framed constellations. Inside, dim blue mood lighting glowed. Cat, Rowan, and a trio of cyber operators hunched over a fold-down table. They dissected the trainer's avionics schematics, mapping out potential injection vectors. Cat memorized switch labels. Muscle. Memory fused with new logic. If bus latency spikes above 8 milliseconds, disengage a RINC multiplexer. If coordinate drift biases starboard, supplemental nav sensor may be spoofed. Rowan passed her a protein bar. You'll need focus in 4 hours. Cat eyed the pastry, stomach knotted but obliging. She bit, tasted nothing but cardboard. An operator named Jin handed her a slim black ring. Saturates micro EMP on snap twist, 2-meter radius. Vaporizes short-range beacons but fry anything else. Cat slid it onto index finger. Last resort. Jin smiled grimly. Exactly. They worked until altimeter read FL380. Outside, moonlight painted the wingtip like silver ribbon. Kat's eyelids drooped. Rowan nudged her. 10-minute nap. Command's order, Kat tried. Seatbelts, engine hum, and looming what-ifs jittered across mind, but exhaustion claimed her. Asterisk, asterisk, 0440 hours. White Sands flight line, asterisk, asterisk. Dawn bleached the horizon peach gray. The trainer 16D sat on the apron, dew gleaming like cold sweat. Senators' entourage tents dotted nearby. Coffee urns, podium, TV crews, setting up. Kat wore an unmarked charcoal flight suit. Her contractor ID now scanned as asterisk safety observer. Level 3 asterisk. Only the ring tool and a concealed sidearm marred protocol. Rowan stood disguised as aide, sunglasses hiding steel trap eyes. Crew Chief Oshoa greeted them. Pre-flight in 10. Kat inspected wheel wells, hydraulic lines, access panels. On the avionics bay door, she found fresh scuff marks by the padlock recent tampering. Her pulse flicked faster. Inside the cockpit, she ran beat tests. Everything. Green. Too clean. Ainsley's voice crackled over private channel. Sensors show microdevice ping in your fuselage. Orion team near VIP tent with laptop. Kat spotted 2 men in civilian suits, scanning Wi-Fi on tablets. The senators arrived, photographers flashing. Senator Lu Yan, silver-haired and sharp-witted, shook Kat's hand. You'll keep us level? Level and breathing, Kat promised. They strapped in. Senator Ames front seat, Lu Yan back. Kat took jump seat partition fold-out harness behind cockpit. Unobtrusive. As canopy closed, Orion's men shifted their laptops. Kat's threat receiver blinked unknown pairing request. She ignored, but a second later the left MFD flickered. Static, stick stiffened. Birdcage activated. Controls heavy, Ames muttered. Trying roll. Kat injected reassuring calm. Minor servo glitch, I'll monitor. She pretended routine as ground crew signaled taxi clearance. They rolled to runway 27. VIP cameras trained. At throttle up. The birdcage tightened. Ailerons locked neutral. Pitch authority reduced. Dangerous but not obvious yet. Takeoff roll pure adrenaline. At 160 knots, rotation barely answered. Kat. Pressed covert intercom. Ames, ease back gently then release. Let autopilot assist. He complied. The jet staggered airborne. Climbing shallow, 200 feet at GL, controls seized completely. Shu D flashed aileron fail. Ames cursed. I've lost it. Senator Luan gripped seat frame. What's happening? Kat unbuckled, crawled forward. Between seats. Toggled circuit breakers. Nothing. Birdcage deeper than expected. Asterisk asterisk share A. If your heart's pounding for them. Asterisk asterisk. She pressed the micro EMP ring against the side console. Twist snap. A blue spark cracked. Smell of ozone. Avionics screens rebooted. Control surfaces twitched, but the exploit countered. Reasserting lock. Kat realized Orion piggybacked via external data link. They needed line of sight. She scanned. Ground. The 2 civilians now in a black van racing along perimeter road. Dish antenna pointed skyward. She keyed Ainsley. Need jamming on van near sector Bravo 3. Ainsley barked orders unseen. Meanwhile, Kat grabbed circuit schematics. From seat pocket, traced finger along fallback cable path manual reversion cable, accessible behind front seat footwell. Designed only for emergency maintenance but plausible. She reached past Ames' legs, yanked floor plate, exposing aluminum pulley. She wedged her multi-tool blade to jam open the fail-safe clutch. Hydraulic fluid hissed, toes of her flight boot. Slick. Control rods groaned, unlocking 6 degrees roll. Your stick's back, Kat told Ames. Gentle inputs. He tested, jet answered sluggish. Enough. Below, an MQ-9 Reaper drone streaked low, disgorging a flare bundle over the van. Satellite relay jam engaged. COTS threat receiver cleared. Birdcage collapsed. Full controls returned. Ames whooped. Lunyan exhaled, voice trembling. That the hidden mastery they warned me about? Cat allowed a grin nobody saw. Part of the package. Click if you've ever snatched victory mid-nosedive. They leveled at 5,000 feet. Senators still had their demonstration. High alpha turn, mild barrel roll, nothing showy but proof of platform stability. Cameras below live-streamed the recovery. Commentators buzzing about unexpected flight control test. Cat resecured. Seat, heart still sprinting. HUD blinked normalcy. She guided Ames through approach checklist. Gear down, 3 green. Smooth touchdown made runway applause explode from VIP stands. As they taxied, Rowan greeted them at ladder with fierce relief. In her eyes, Ainsley hovered nearby, cane tapping rhythm of satisfaction. Senator Ames pulled off helmet, face pale and exhilarated. I thought my career ended in a fireball. Miss Rivers, Congress owes you. Lujan grabbed COTS' hand. We need to talk security funding. And your clearance. Before Cat could reply, a base PA crackled. Medical emergency Captain Harmon entering code blue. All available flight surgeon staff to Med Bay. COTS' breath caught. Rowan read the fear. Go, I'll cover post-flight. COTS sprinted. Leg wound forgotten, across blistering concrete toward medical building. Asterisk 11:15 hours. White Sands. Medical Harmon lay amid alarms, surgeons working chest tubes. Blood pressure falling. A piece of shrapnel from initial cockpit injury migrated, nicking pulmonary artery. Cat shoved through staff. Nurse recognized her, wordlessly handed scrub gloves. COTS' mother's training roared forward. She assessed. Vitals spotted the issue clamp slipping. She braced suction line, replaced clamp angle, stemmed flow. Surgeon Dr. Naveen glared but didn't stop her. They worked synchrony, whirlwind of gauze and sutures. Monitors steadied. Cat stepped back. Sweat saturating collar as Harmon's heart rhythm regularized. Tears pricked her eyes. Shock, relief. Rowan slipped in. He'll live? Cat nodded, emotionally raw. Rowan handed her phone, encrypted number again. Message, Phase 3 begins sunset. Targets, Ainsley Rivers. Location, Skybridge Hotel, ABQ, Cat stared. They know our debrief hotel. Rowan whispered. Then we don't sleep, we hunt. Cat exhaled, drawing steel from marrow. Game ends tonight. They clasped forearms, soldiers packed. Shara, if you're ready to face the head of the serpent. Gunfire echoed like rattled coins in a steel drum as Cat slid across the polished marble of the Skybridge Hotel lobby, her palms stinging from shattered glass and her mind 3 moves ahead of the men closing in. Even 12 hours ago, she'd believed the night would end with quiet debriefs and paperwork. Now it was a blitzkrieg of marble columns, crystal chandeliers, and the rattle of suppressed submachine guns inside a luxury high-rise, booked solid with politicians, security contractors, and the very saboteurs she meant to drag into daylight. Drop. If you've ever watched a quiet evening explode into chaos. 10 minutes earlier, she and Rowan had stepped from an unmarked SUV into the underground parking deck, adopting the casual gait of late arrival hotel guests. General Ainsley had remained at a tactical van 2 blocks away, overseeing patchy cyprinet feeds and feeding them floor plans. Their mission sounded straightforward on paper. Locate Orion Sentry's regional director, Marshal Cade, secure his laptop, and extract him to federal custody before sunrise. But Cat had learned that straightforward was a shape-shifter. It wore new skins every hour, The hotel's elevator hummed upward, copper mirrors reflecting Kat's charcoal flight suit, now hidden beneath a borrowed blazer, and Rowan's crisp pencil skirt. They looked more like fatigued lobbyists then. Field agents ready to crash an arms dealer at the 28th floor. Doors slid open onto carpet, so plush Kat's boots disappeared half an inch. Soft jazz trickled from concealed speakers. A silver sign announced **** Orion Sentry's private reception Stargate. Ballroom ***. Rowan adjusted her lanyard fake credentials, reading Gillian Schaefer, defense liaison. Eyes for security cameras. You spot the director, I tail his guard pattern. Kat's thigh still ached beneath the fabric, but adrenaline kept the wound numb. She replied, "See you at laptop o'clock." They entered a whisper swirl of black ties, sequined gowns, and the faint scent of saffron risotto. Marshal Cade Balding, heavy-eyed, stood near a panoramic window, whiskey in hand, flanked by 2 bodyguards with coiled earpieces. His laptop sat on a tray table, screen tilted convenience, open, perhaps to tempt investors with flashy graphs of sabotage profit margins. Kat drifted closer, pretending to study the night skyline. She heard Cade boast, "Our product grounds an entire air wing for the price of a single missile." Nations pay for that kind of leverage. Her skin crawled. Rowan texted ready. Kat's turn. She feigned a stumble, spilling champagne across. Her blouse and onto Cade's sleeve. "Oh God, I'm so sorry." Cade recoiled, cursing. His guards stepped forward. Rowan slipped through the confusion, palm drive flashing between her manicured fingers. She docked it to the laptop, a silent handshake siphoning encrypted files. The nearest guard noticed. "Hey," Rowan smirked. "Love your cufflinks." Guard reached. Rowan Rabbit punched his triceps, twisted wrist, disarmed sidearm. Chaos bloomed. Cat snatched the laptop, spun, and dashed for service corridor. Alarms howled. Guests screamed. Guards pursued. That was Minute Zero, the calm before the marble lobby firefight. Now ripping her eardrums. ***, tap if you feel the echo of ordnance in your bones. ***, Cat ducked behind the concierge desk, flipping the laptop into her rucksack. Bullets chewed mahogany inches above her hair. She pulled her emergency crash axe, borrowed from the F-16, still flecked with foam. Against automatic weapons, it seemed laughable. Yet steel, when swung with conviction, could still draw fear. Rowan dove beside her, panting. Cade escaped through VIP lift. "We have files, though." She slid a compact Glock across to Cat. "Better odds." Cat checked the magazine. 12 rounds. "How many hostiles?" 10 on ground, maybe more above. Cat peered through shattered glass doors. Police sirens wailed faintly, still distant. Local SWAT cordons lagged when politics muddied radio waves. They were on their own for at least 6 minutes. Behind the front desk stood a closed staff passage. Cat kicked it open. Service. Stairs to rooftop helipad. Extraction UAV, inbound in 5. She yanked fire alarm lever. Sprinklers hissed, drenching foyer in misty sleet. Rowan grinned. Little rain to fog the optics. They sprinted up concrete steps, shoes squealing. The laptop weighed on Kat's wounded leg, each pound a reminder of stakes within those drives. Lay proof of sabotage links to foreign black markets. Without them, Orion would spin narrative into patriotic fervor. At level 30, emergency exit led to roof. Night wind slapped Kat's drenched blazer. Red beacon lights flashed across helipad. Lines. A remote pilot Sikorsky S-97 radar call sign Ghost. I hovered 100 feet out, rotors scissoring the cool desert air, but between them and safety loomed Marshal Cade, braced behind an air conditioner stack, wielding a compact SMG. His tie fluttered like a death flag. "Laptop stays," he barked over rotor wash. "Hand it over, and maybe I don't paint the deck with you." Cat remained still, shifting weight onto her good leg. Rowan edged to her right, feigning surrender. Kat's mind ticked angles, the rotor gust, drizzle slick concrete. Her ammo count. Lightning cracked silently across distant clouds' heat sheet. She seized momentary flash as distraction, firing twice. One round clipped Cade's shoulder. Second shattered his weapon's magazine. He roared, ducked. Rowan sprinted left, flanking. Cade produced a flashbang lobbed. Cat dove, arm over eyes. Thunder erupted. Ears rang. Through tinnitus she heard rotor change, geostos TEYE adjusting vector, autopilot perceiving threat. Drone pilot Ainsley patched through earbud. You need to jump, Cat. 30-second hover limit. Vision clearing, Cat saw Cade lunging for Rowan, knife glinting. She pushed up, pain screaming. Rolling forward, she swung axe into Cade's forearm. Blade sank, knife clattered. Rowan pivoted, delivering elbow to temple. Cade collapsed, but 3 more Orion shooters burst from stairwell. Gunfire stitched across roof. Sparks off railings showered the night. Cat dragged Rowan behind. Ventilation duct. Drone's bail door lined up. On 3, we sprint. 1. Cat, Rowan said, eyes wide at Cat's thighs soaked crimson. You won't make that leap. 2. Cat gritted. She tossed Rowan the laptop. Go. Evidence matters. Rowan's jaw clenched tears. Not without you. Asterisk asterisk press. If loyalty ever warred with logic in your heart. Asterisk asterisk. 3. Cat shoved Rowan out of cover. Rowan vaulted first, clearing 5-foot gap, catching landing skid. The drone dipped but stabilized. Bullets whined. Cat lunged, body screaming, just as a round tore across her shoulder, spinning her mid-air. She caught the skid with one hand, axe in the other. Ghost eyes surged, lifting. The shooters fired futile. Bursts as the drone ascended into night. Cat dangled, muscles ablaze. Rowan hauled her up with raw strength. Inside cabin, they collapsed into harness nets as the hatch sealed. From cockpit speaker, Ainsley exhaled. Never doubted you. Cat laughed, cough turning to wince. Liar. 020 hours mobile safe house, El Paso outskirts. Ghost Eye. Touchdown beside abandoned rail yard, where camouflage semi-trailers formed impromptu operations node. Medics patched Cat's fresh wounds. Rowan paced, phone to ear, coordinating file transfers to Doge. Ainsley limped into medical bay, cane. Tapping. Laptops full of digital gold, kid. Procurement contracts, sabotage schedules, offshore wire maps. But we're missing the Keystone access credential for Orion's master kill switch server. That key is embedded in Cade's biometric token. He still holds it. Cat sat up, stitches tugging. Then we take it. He's on the move. Orion's extraction team exfilled him by private plane, already en route to a black site airstrip in Sonora. Cross-border jurisdiction. Gets messy. Rowan joined them. Mexican authorities friendly but slow. If the plane touches down, Cade vanishes behind mercenary cordons. Ainsley glanced at Cat's bandages. You're benched. We'll redirect Marines from Yuma. Cat's stare hardened. They'll miss window. I can intercept mid-air. Ainsley raised brows. With what airframe? Your Zulu's grounded. Tailplane damaged. Rowan turned Hala tablet, blueprint of a Lockheed Martin Cerberus. Experimental VTOL jet with docking claws for mid-air refuel drills. Test article stored at Holloman. Flight by thought neural link. You logged. Simulator hours last year. Cat's pulse quickened. Unfinished, unstable, perfect. Ainsley exhaled long. If you break it, you erase 10 billion R&D. If you succeed, you deliver Orion's head on a plate. Cat slid off stretcher, wincing. I'll sign the IOU. 03 hours. Holloman Skunkworks hangar, the Cerberus sat like a predator bird, Wings tilting forward in aggressive cant. Twin vectoring exhaust shimmered violet even at idle. Engineers in night shift coveralls parted as Cot strode under sodium glare. Flight suit replaced by electromagnetic neuromesh skullcap and sensor gloves. Crew Chief Vance explained. Neural. Controller calibrates to pilot alpha rhythms. No conventional stick your intent modulates throttles and vector fins. Miss a synapse she tumbles. Cat-fitted skullcap. HUD neural display lit her mind with cascading glyphs. She inhaled steady. Mother's mantra: breath, thread, tie, breathe. Vance strapped her in. Rowan's voice filtered via comes from Ops Pit. Cade's jet at 25,000 feet. Mach .67. Track south, southwest. You climb, overtake, dock at tail ramp, breach cabin, secure token. Simple, Cot thought with dark humor. She closed canopy. Neural handshake pulsed. Wings tilted to vertical. Cerebus lifted on a fountain of hypersonic wind, climbing like weather balloon on caffeine. G-forces felt diffused, filtered by dampening. Field humming against her spine. Asterisk asterisk tap. If you've ever dreamt of flying with mere thought. Asterisk asterisk. The desert blurred beneath silver dawn. She chased contrails across twilight, aligning flight path with Orion Jet's transponder, spoofed by DOJ spyware. Soon she sighted the Lear 75, sleek and oblivious. Cerebus throttled back, wings transitioning to cruise. Cot engaged capture clause. Rowan, on final intercept. Copy. UAV recon shows 2 armed guards in cabin. Non-lethal preferred unless fired upon. Cot rolled inverted, descending onto Lear's 6 o'clock like a shadow. Claws extended, gripping tailhook assembly. Magnets clamped. Jet buffeted. Inside, silhouette scrambled. Cat released canopy, wind punching her lungs. She crawled along. Dorsal spine, magnetic boots clicking. At cabin emergency hatch she planted explosive microtape. Charge hissed, popped silent. Door blew inward. She dived. Lear's cabin a swirl of Lux leather and panicked mercenaries. One aimed pistol. Cot flicked beanbag round from wrist launcher impact folded him. Second lunged with combat knife. She parried, using cramped aisle. Quick elbow, knee, then sleeper hold. He sagged. Cade sat secured, shoulder bandage seeping. His eyes flared venom. Cot yanked biometric ring from his finger. End of runway, she said. He spat blood. Cutting off one head, another grows. Cat pocketed ring. Bring scissors. She climbed back through hatch. Cerebus still locked. She leapt, catching midder cockpit rail. AI noted presence, sealed transparency. She re-mached neural loop and disengaged claws. Lear fell behind. Rowan's voice. Ring signal authenticated. Uploading kill, switch decrypt. Ainsley cut in. Orion's global master key erased. All compromised firmware reverting to original. Cot allowed a rare grin victory scent crisp like ozone at altitude. Asterisk asterisk smash. If you can taste triumph on your tongue right now. Asterisk asterisk. But triumph proved brittle. Sensors flared red. Neural desync. Pathway alpha. Cerebus jittered. Starboard engine spiking. Cot's lingering shoulder wound bled anew. Fatigue fracturing. Concentration. Wings oscillated. Altitude dropped in corkscrew. Rowan neural feedback loop collapsing. Manual override non-existent. Rowan responded calm but tight. You need bass stimuli music, memory anything to sharpen rhythms. Cat closed eyes, summoned father's raspy laugh, mother's lullaby. The steady chant of turbine blades from childhood nights near base housing. Neural graph steadied green. Cerebus leveled. She banked east toward Holloman. But radar spike bloomed. Behind 2 F-5 aggressor jets, transponders dark. Orion diehards, last attempt. They closed Mach 1.1, weapon pylons hot. No guns on Cerebus. Only speed and wit. Cat thought climb. The jet obeyed, vectoring vertical. Airspeed bled but altitude. Rocketed. 5 south followed. She rolled, dove between them. Neural link translating adrenaline into serpentine moves impossible with sticks. One pursuer overshot. The other launched IR missile. Cat countered with 0G loop, dumping heat decoys from engine. Vents, brain pulsing commands. Missile track decoy, exploded. Remaining F5 re-engaged, cannon firing. Round stitched wing root. Vibration threatened failure. Rowan. Apache gunship scrambled ETA 2 minutes. Cat couldn't last that long. She scanned terrain, white sands dunes sprawling like pale sea. She dove low, skimming gypsum waves. Neural link mapped micro-topography. She slalomed behind dunes, forcing F5 to follow at dangerous altitude. Then she pulled vertical as dune ended, corkscrewing overhead. F5 pilot yanked stick. Jet clipped ridge, engine ingested gypsum cloud, flame out. It cartwheeled, pilot. Ejecting into plume. Cat's heart pounded thunder. Apache flight buzzed overhead, securing pilot. She angled Cerebus home. ***, 0630 hours. Holloman tarmac ***, sun-crowned mountains. Bathing basin rose gold. Cerebus touched down, gear groaning but intact. Cot rolled to halt, canopy sliding back. Rowan sprinted, helmet hair wild, arms open. Cat dismounted, legs quivering. Rowan hugged her despite blood and soot. Ainsley arrived, seniors flanking. He saluted. War's not over, but today you beheaded the beast. Cat managed a weary smile. Let's make sure it doesn't grow back. Rowan brandished secure tablet. Press conference in 2 hours. Senators will announce full inquiry. Orion assets frozen. Cat rubbed temples. Good, but where there's money, there's Phoenix ash. We need permanent watchdogs. Ainsley tapped Kane. And hidden masters willing to step into daylight. His gaze on her, she swallowed. Visibility had been her nightmare. Anonymity her shield. Could she live exposed? Time to decide. Sirens cut. Conversation. Base PA. Unauthorized UAV inbound. Impact forecast within base perimeter. All personnel seek cover. Cot's blood froze. Rowan grabbed her arm. They're launching kamikaze drones, Orion's scorched earth. On horizon, a swarm of black dots converged 50, maybe more. Ainsley barked, scramble interceptors. Tech sprinted. EBUS. Repairs impossible in minutes. Zulu offline. Only ready platform. A dusty A6 little bird on alert pad. Light weapons. Cat sprinted. Rowan at her side. They climbed aboard, the chopper's miniguns half-loaded. Rotors spun, dust whirlpool. Cat yelled, I'll fly you gun. Rowan nodded, strapping harness, checking belt-fed rounds. The swarm buzzed louder, sun glinting. Off carbon fiber wings. Cat lifted, adrenaline a river. She banked toward swarm, rotor wash beating dawn. Rowan gripped side, Mount MINIGUN. Cat whispered to herself. One last dance. She pushed throttle. Little bird surged. Asterisk hit. If you believe they'll stand between the world and annihilation. Asterisk bullets met drones, sparks raining. But numbers pressed. Cat threaded chopper through sky like needle in tapestry, engines screaming protest. Rowan's tracers lit swarm cores. Drones erupted in fireballs. But one, then two slipped by, racing toward fuel tank farm. Cat flipped little. Bird inverted, straining frame to chase, rotor tips skimming air. She lined path, Rowan peppered. Hits, but fragments still flew. Fuel tanks loomed. Cat reached for rocket pods. Empty. She drew breath, then banked. Chopper into suicide intercept. Rotor blades poised to swat drones even if it cost them. Rowan understood. Eyes meeting hers. Acceptance. Explosion flash ahead as a drone detonated, prematurely. Apache missile from supporting gunship. Second drone still closing. Little bird closed faster. Wind cried. Kat felt serenity beyond fear. Kat's breath stalled in her throat as the little bird streaked toward the hurtling drone. Rotor wash shredding the dawn-lit sky. The final killer orb, sleek, black, and humming with unspent explosives, was less than 100 meters from the base fuel farm. One detonation, and every victory earned through blood and steel would ignite into a mushroom cloud. She and Rowan shared a single unspoken decision. If the chopper blades sheared the drone mid-air, the A-6 would disintegrate in the blast. But the tanks might remain intact. If they hesitated, hundreds would die. Kat nosed the helicopter down another hair's breadth. Rowan braced behind the minigun, eyes flat and fearless. 50 meters. 40. Hot exhaust licked the skin off courage. Rowan fired a last burst, tracers sparking across the drone's carbon shell. Shells pinch, but the payload remained stubbornly. Fused, they were out of time. Kat's hand tightened on the cyclic. She felt every scar on her body hum with a single imperative. Shield them. 30 meters. She pulled collective, pitching the little bird into a rising scissor that would rake the blades across the drone's nose. Metal screamed on metal. The cabin lurched sideways. Gravity sliced the air. The drone detonated in a geyser of white light, too small, too early. Kat's last-second climb had robbed the charge of its proximity trigger. Fragmentation shredded open sky instead of fuel tanks. Shrapnel rattled like hail across the fuselage, but the helicopter held. Warning lights flared amber, then steadied. Kat exhaled. Rowan whooped. Below, the desert fell abruptly quiet. No alarms, no secondary booms. Only the distant thump of arriving Apaches and the metallic wind of rotor blades. Asterisk, asterisk. Smash, if you've ever risked everything for the win. Asterisk, asterisk. Kat eased the wounded little bird into a cautious orbit, scanning for more threats. The swarm lay broken smoke. Curls, tumbling wreckage, a field of failed vengeance. Agent Rowan keyed the TACnet. Base command, final drone neutralized. Perimeter clear. Repeat, clear. Shears erupted across multiple channels. Sirens slid into relieved silence as firefighters stood down. Even the sunrise seemed to pause, holding its breath with them. Kat's shoulders sagged. Every wound new and old suddenly howled. She kept her voice even. Returning to pad. Hydraulic pressures low. We may lose tail authority on final. I've got you, Rowan said. It wasn't a question. Kat smiled thin, exhausted. She banked toward Ridgecrest, a single spear of sunlight washing over bullet-pocked instrument panels. Asterisk, asterisk, 0815 hours. Ridgecrest Field Hospital, asterisk, asterisk. Kat drifted in and out of consciousness. A blurred carousel of medics, 4 bags, and muffled applause. The little bird had held together long enough to land, though the tail rotor collapsed on the final spin. Once she stumbled from the cockpit, her body refused another step. The next thing she remembered clearly was her mother's face, older, wearier, but unmistakably Dr. Eileen Torres appearing over her cot. "Mom?" Kat croaked. Her mother's fingers brushed sweat, drenched hair from Kat's brow. "You always have to take the longest road home, Katrina." Yet pride shimmered behind the weary reprimand. Kat tried to sit, winced at the fire in her stitches. "Fuel farm, okay?" "Perfectly intact," Dr. Torres said. "Unlike you." Too cracked. Ribs, reopened thigh laceration, shrapnel groove along your scapula. "Congratulations, you beat your childhood record for e-visits." Kat chuckled, then groaned. "Sorry." A rough laugh sounded from the next bed. Captain Harmon, pale but alert, raised a shaky thumbs up. "Not a bad day to be alive, Rivers." Kat's eyes stung. "Glad you made it." Across the tent, Caldwell. slumped in a chair, arm in sling, grinning like a child allowed too much sugar. Rowan stood behind him, whispered with Ainsley, both checking a secure tablet. The mood felt cautiously triumphant, a dawn after storm. Kat swallowed emotion. Status on Orion? Rowan crossed over. DOJ seized their domestic assets overnight. Interpol moving on offshore accounts as we speak. Marshal Cade is already in custody at Fort Bliss. His biometric token gave us everything. Ainsley leaned. On his cane, Senate hearing convenes at noon. They'll broadcast live. The nation deserves to know how close we came to losing an F-16 fleet without a single missile fired. Then he looked at Kat, eyes unexpectedly soft. They also deserve to know who stopped it. Kat shifted uneasily. I prefer back. Rose, you don't get that luxury, Rowan said, smile gentle. Not anymore. Kat closed her eyes, breathing through uncertainty. The hidden expert, forever lurking behind clipboards, had been yanked into the spotlight, and the world would keep pulling ******. If you've ever tried to stay invisible, only to be forced into the light. 1100 hours, Ridgecrest. Conference hall, temporary link to Capitol hearing, ****, Senator Lujan's voice, crisp and steady, spilled from the screens. And thus, without the interventions of Miss Katrina Rivers and Special Agent Lydia Rowan, the sabotage would have caused catastrophic loss of life. We recommend immediate passage of the Sabotage Prevention Act, the expansion of cyber hardening grants, and a commendation for these officers. Kat sat in a wheelchair near the back, Rowan beside her, both looking wholly uncomfortable in hastily pressed uniforms. Cameras whirred, reporters scribbled. A congressional staffer asked Kat to recap key events on record. Kat's pulse thundered, louder than the drone swarm ever had. She inhaled slowly, lifted the microphone. Words tumbled out measured, focused, covering not her own heroics, but the teamwork, crew chiefs, med techs, Caldwell's bravery, Harmon's resilience. She painted the victory as a tapestry of skill, not a spotlight. When she finished, applause washed the hall. Her ears rang, cheeks flushed. Rowan squeezed her hand under the table. Kat expected another wave of praise. Instead, Rowan leaned close and murmured, "Behind you." Kat twisted General Logan Rivers, her father long passed, could never be there. But in his stead stood 4 Marines in dress blues, one holding a folded flag, its white stars gleaming. She recognized it instantly, her father's service flag. Once thought lost in a base archive, the Marine Major saluted. By order of the Commandant, the Rivers legacy is hereby returned, entrusted to the next generation of Guardians. Kat swallowed hard as the flag settled in her lap. Tears blurred the Senate seal on the podium. In that moment, every drill her father forced before dawn, every trauma rotation her mother mentored after dark, aligned like constellation fragments, primed for this single ceremony. Her hidden mastery felt less like a secret and more like a crown. ***** Tap, if you've ever felt a legacy land on your shoulders. ****. 1430 hours. Quiet wing of field hospital reporters had dispersed. Senators flown back to D.C., and Kat finally had silence. Rowan returned from a security briefing, 2 cups of coffee in hand. She offered one. Kat accepted but didn't sip. Her nerves still hummed. What now? Rowan perched on Kat edge. DOJ wants us to spearhead a permanent joint rapid counter sabotage task force. Ainsley nominated you for lead pilot and technical advisor. Full Colonel Civ equivalent rank, top-tier clearance, you name it. Kat raised an eyebrow. You? Lead investigator, Rowan shrugged. They figure I keep you out of trouble. Kat smirked, then grew serious. I spent my life as a ghost. If I accept, ghosts die. Not die, Rowan corrected. Evolve. Kat looked at the folded flag on the dresser, faint cedar scent. Of its old case rising. Maybe I owe the ghosts a daylight ending. Rowan squeezed her thigh carefully, mindful of stitches. Endings are overrated. Think of it as runway lights. You build them for someone else to take off. Kat closed her eyes, let the idea settle. The ghosts had guided her. Perhaps it was time to guide others. In, she whispered. Rowan grinned. Like sunrise. I'll tell Ainsley. Kat's stomach knotted fear, excitement, purpose melding. She finally took a sip of coffee, savoring bitter heat. Asterisk, asterisk. This story took us a long time. If you like it, subscribe. Now back to the story. 1930 hours, Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico asterisk asterisk. Two Black Hawks ferried the nascent task force team to their new command center. Hangar 43, a cavernous shell recently cleared of aging transports. Inside, technicians. Wired rows of augmented reality planning tables, fiber optic bundles snaking like neon roots. Kat rolled in on crutches, leg throbbing but serviceable. Caldwell greeted her, now wearing a crisp operations patch that read Valor Chronicle, the task force's provisional name. Pilot roster finalized, he said. 4 ace flyers, 2 drones, 1 prototype airframe. We're under your wing, Kat blinked. You're staying? Caldwell's grin widened. After a front row seat to you belly landing ghosts. How could I leave? Nearby, Captain Harmon, still pale but upright, reviewed drone telemetry. He caught Kat's glance, offered a thumbs up that trembled but held. The weight of command settled. Kat inhaled, shoulders squaring. Press, if you've ever stepped into a role that once scared you. Asterisk asterisk. 2,130 hours. Hangar 43 briefing. Room asterisk asterisk. Large screens displayed red pins, sabotage hotspots, across a dim digital globe. Orion cells hadn't folded. They'd scattered Hydra-like. Their war was just beginning. Rowan addressed the team. Our first intel drop suggests Orion remnant factions plan simultaneous firmware worm tests in civilian airliners within 30 days. We will preempt, neutralize, and arrest. Kat studied the globe, mind-parsing altitudes, flight corridors. Worst-case chains, the scope dwarfed any single hero. But a team trained, ready could weave nets where ghosts once tread alone. She tapped screen. Enlarging Atlantic Corridor Cluster. We start here, the busiest sky on Earth. Caldwell nodded. Harmon adjusted pump, and Tex recorded parameters. A strange calm filled Kat, purpose tempered by fear. Fear balanced by trust. Her hidden mastery had become a shared language. Asterisk asterisk hit. If you're ready to join a team that never sleeps. 0600 hours, next day. Desert Ridge National Cemetery asterisk chat. Stood alone at her father's headstone, morning light spilling across granite rows. She'd flown here at dawn in a battered jeep, leaving her cane in the car. Stitches complained, but she needed no crutch for this. She unfolded the flag, smoothing creases. I thought hiding made me safer, she whispered to the desert wind. Turns out it just delayed the mission you prepared me for. The breeze carried faint rotor echoes from the base miles away, a lullaby of purpose. Kat pictured her father's approving nod, her mother's steady hands guiding yet another suture. She folded the flag once more and slung it over her shoulder like a cape. Behind her, engine rumble. Rowan stepped out of a black SUV. We've got a flight to catch, Colonel. Kat straightened. Pain flared, but a greater fire pushed it aside. She gave the grave one last salute. Not goodbye, but report of readiness. Then she turned to Rowan. Let's go remind the sky whose side we're on. They climbed into the SUV. Dust curled behind tires as they sped toward the new chapter. The sun cleared the horizon, gilding the windshield and Kat's determined eyes. The road before them shimmered with possibilities. Shadows behind shrinking. In the glare, she thought of the F-16 with no landing gear, the crippled prototype, the surge of rotor blades against a kamikaze swarm. She thought of every doubt that had yanked her back and every split second when she'd chosen forward. Tomorrow promised new drones, new forms, new saboteurs. Good. Because tomorrow, Katrina Rivers would meet them in daylight. ****, two more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications. ****.